Rabbit from farm.
Ito sa amin. Ang Pilipinas ay isang arkipelago na binubuo ng mahigit na 7,000 kapuluan at napapaligiran ng malawak ng mga karagatan. Dahil dito, ang bansa ay nabiyayaan ng iba't ibang uri at klase ng yamang dagat. Isa na nga rito ang shrimp o hipon na isa sa mga pangunahing aquaculture industry ng Pilipinas. Sa pamilihan, nakikita natin ng hipon na may iba't ibang uri at laki. Paano nga ba ito pinapalaki at pinoproseso? Halina at sabay-sabay nating alamin kung paano nga ba pinapalaki at pinoproseso ang hipon dito sa ika-4 na episode ng Babs TV, Hipontastic, produksyon ng ligtas at dekalidad na hipon. Magandang araw mga kabaps, nandito naman kami upang kayo ay bigyan ng bagong kaalaman tungkol sa mga produktong agrikultural at pampangisdaan at ang kalagayan ng pamantayan patungkol dito. Ako po si Ram Perez, ang inyong host para sa episode na ito na tampok ang industriya ng paghihipon. Nandito tayo ngayon sa Charon Pokpan Foods Philippines Corporation dito sa Negros Occidental. Aalamin natin kung paano nga ba ang tamang pamamaraan sa pagpapalaki at pagpoproseso ng hipon. Makakasama natin ngayon si Mr. Sitipong Sitiperahul or Mr. Kun. Siya po ang Assistant Vice President for Shrimp Operations at ibabahagi niya po sa atin ang mga kaalaman patungkol sa paghihipon. Good morning, Sir Kun.
Good morning.
First, I want to thank you, sir, for allowing us to interview you.
Okay.
So, I have a few questions here.
Yes.
So, sir, first, I want to ask if how long or how many years are you in the business of shrimp production?
For me, myself, I start to work with Charon Pokpan Food in Thailand. It's from 2001. And till now, I think I'm here in this business around 21 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sir, I'm just curious. You said you were from Thailand.
Yes.
So, how or when did you start your business here in the Philippines?
In the Philippines, actually, we start in 2003. So, at that time, we just do like a peanut moradon shrimp. And 2008, we start to do operate farm here, this farm, Binabagan.
So you're in 2008 you were...
Yeah, we start to operate this farm.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, so what is there a different species you were farming?
Actually, right now we do only peanut vename or Pacific white shrimp because long ago in Philippines we do the peanut moradon, but right now it's not in the market anymore, or just only few for the peanut moradon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sir, do you harvest a particular month or season for shrimp?
Actually, for us, we do whole year round culture. We don't do like a seasoning. Every month in the year, we do stocking and harvest. We don't do any seasoning like this month only we produce. No, we do it whole year round.
How often do you harvest shrimp?
I think in every month we have harvest. So we can say in the year, maybe 12 times.
12,
Yeah.
12 times a year.
Yeah, a
So,
year. Every
so
month.
every month.
Every
Okay.
month we harvest.
Where do you usually market your produce?
Actually, for us here, mostly we sell the shrimp to the local market in Manila. And somehow we also sell the shrimp to processing plant here in Negros because of some of processing plant they do for the domestic market also for the frozen shrimp, something like that.
Okay. So do you so you market your produce all around the Philippines?
Yeah, only in the Philippines for now. But
For
in
now.
the future, maybe we can do some export in the
So
future.
right now you are not exporting your produce.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But so do you have plan?
Yeah,
So-
we have plan, but we need to ensure that the shrimp production just have enough for export. Because right now, I think the shrimp production in Philippines still not enough yet. So just wait for the time that the production is getting higher, and then we look for the export market for the Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have target countries for exportation of your produce?
Mostly the processing plant here, they export to US,
Yes.
some in I think in Korea or Taiwan. For us also, soon maybe we need to export to Asian country first, because each country, I think in the world, they have a standard or certify. Each European, US or some other country, there is the standard. So we need to follow the standard.
So there is a standard you
Yes,
follow for,
yes, yeah.
for you to
So
consider also
like that.
for
for
exportation.
exportation.
Sir, how about the demand of the shrimp? Both in Philippines and
I
internationally.
think in the Philippines is picking up. I mean, increasing each year. So I think the demand is rise up, and in the world, I think the demand is there. But for us, mostly we do in the local consumption in Philippines. So in the market in Philippines, I think the domestic consumption is still high.
Still high.
Yes, still high.
Sir, you said earlier that you were considering some regulations or standards
Yes.
for export. How about here in the Philippines? Do you comply with the regulations?
Yes, of course, we do comply with BIFA, because we need to have the BIFA certificate. Since the start, we comply with this, and then we do any rule and regulation in Philippines that they state that we need to follow. Like major permit, we have major permit.
Major permit.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
the
How about, sir, certification in compliance to the standards?
I think we
From before?
yes, we have. Yeah, like that.
Sir, being a well-known corporate or corporation for shrimp production, what are the opportunities do you see for production of the shrimp here in the Philippines or in the international scene?
I think in Philippines you have a lot of opportunity, huge, because since before when you talk about peanut moradon, Philippines is one of the biggest producer. I mean, before since 1980, 90, this country can produce the shrimp around 100,000 metric tons, and for now we ship to the peanut Vietnamese. This advantage of the peanut Vietnamese, we can stock higher density and then you can produce more. When you compare with the Moradon and Vietnamese, I think Vietnamese can get the production is 4 times from Moradon. So in the future, I think Philippines used to produce 100,000 metric ton. Maybe you can produce around 400,000 metric ton in this country. But this must be cooperated with the government and then the private sector like us. For us, we can see a lot of opportunity here. And then we also helping the farmer, helping country here by we have we produce a good fry for our farmer, our customer. We produce the good feed for our customer. And then also we still have the model for shrimp farm that we try to promote to get the good crop for our customer. And in the world, I think the shrimp demand still there, but the problem right now just only the pricing. So we have to work out about the cost for each country, especially in Philippines. If Philippines can decrease the cost of electricity or logistic or diesel, something like that. So we can do some export. But right now, I think for the local consumption, it's doing well.
It's doing well.
Yeah.
Sir, in your own opinion, what are the advantages of complying standards?
So you know that in the future, the people look at the food safety, right? So the standard that you have to follow is from the person that outside of the country that they need to buy the shrimp from us. So this is very important to follow the standard, especially the European or US market that they have a lot of standard. So for us as a company, we try to comply all the standard to reach the need of the customer outside so that we can export the shrimp to those countries like that.
Okay, I think, sir, that's all.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your time and knowledge in shrimp production.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Mayroong mga regulasyon na ipinapatupad sa produksyon ng hipon dito sa ating bansa. Alamin natin mula sa ating kasamahan sa Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources kung ano-ano nga ba ang mga regulasyon na meron ng BIFAR patungkol sa produksyon ng hipon.
Ang BIFAR it is being regulated by Republic Act 8550 of 1998 as amended by Republic Act 10654 of 2015, which states an act to prevent, deter illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Ito, R8 8550 is the Philippine Fisheries Code, and stated in it is the development, management, and conservation, as well as protection of our fishery resources. Included as mandates are fishery management, aquaculture development, marine conservation, food security, capacity building, international cooperation, regulatory functions, as well as public awareness and education. So in summary, our mandate is actually sustainable development of our resources as well as conservation and protection of the fishery resources of the country. In general, meron tayong regulatory function, meron tayong registration of our facilities, so yung mga grow-out farms, hatcheries, as well as mga processing plants are being regulated through registration sa Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. Sa grow-out farm, meron tayong biosecurity. We do compliance with biosecurity as well as food safety. Kasama na rin ito sa processing natin. Tapos meron din tayong importation. Ang regulatory natin, we import broodstock for Penaeus vanameae through Fishery Administrative Order 225, Series of 2007, as amended in 225-1 of 2008 and 225-2 of 2009, as well as FAO 230 and 231. So ito ay for both the importation of live Penaeus vanameae broodstock and importation of Penaeus monodon broodstock and fry. So we make sure na yung mga mag-i-import will follow the requirements for importation. The first one is my laboratory result from a competent authorities laboratory as recognized by the government. Merong health certification from a competent authority of the country of origin. Merong 2-year disease-free status of the broodstock facility where the broodstock will originate. Meron din itong history of the commercialization, disease history on the commercialization of the hatchery facility since the time that the hatchery was commercialized. And of course, yung mga travel documents are also very important. And of course, certification of compliance to biosecurity and food safety. So those are the requirements for importation. So those are some of our regulations. For the Philippine National Standards, we have the PNS for good aquaculture practices for both shrimps and crabs. Sa grow out ito, yung culture natin. So this was approved by the Secretary, Department Secretary on 2017. Then we also have the PNS for Code of Good Aquaculture Practices for Shrimp Hatcheries. So this was actually approved and developed through BAPS in 2019. Tapos meron din tayong Code of Practice for processing of shrimps and prawn and was developed by BAS in 2020. This is through the participation of the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, CIFDEC, and also DOST PCARD. And of course, the private sector, the stakeholders. For the farms, we have around 2,176 grow-out farms that are registered with the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources and 115 hatcheries for both Peneos Vaname and Peneos Monodon. And registered grow-out farms total to 13,885 hectares in the country. And we're still going around and we are still going to register more farms who are interested to culture Vaname and Monodon. Ang mga tulong na binibigay natin ay technical assistance sa grow-out at saka hatchery. Tayo ay meron pong disease surveillance and monitoring. Pumupunta po tayo sa mga hatcheries at sa mga farms and we do active surveillance. Nagko-collect po tayo ng samples at ina-analyze po ito on site. And once na makakuha po tayo ng positive, we automatically go to the nearest laboratory for confirmation through real-time PCR or conventional PCR, the polymerase chain reaction method. Meron din tayong, nagkakandak po tayo ng forum as often as possible in order to listen to the needs and na mga pangangailangan ng ating mga stakeholders. And of course, meron tayong kinokondak na Congress, Philippine National Congress. This is every 2 years. This is to promote yung mga bagong technology sa farm, sa hatchery, even sa marketing at mga bagong government regulations, at saka among others. At saka of course, we also conduct mga linkages. Magkakaroon po ng linkages between the growers and the farmers. So, napaka-importante for market accessibility. Tapos, meron din po tayong we author and we publish books, mga references for grow-out farms, for hatcheries. So, we have different publications, Fry Quality Assessment. We also were able to publish Shrimp Farmers Manual. Tapos, meron tayong mga disease cards para mas easier ang pag-recognize ng mga technicians and farmers kung may sakit po ang ating mga shrimps. Meron din tayong mga online dahil nagkaroon ng COVID, so nasanay tayo sa digitalization. So meron tayong mga online na mga programs. We call it HIP Online, or this is HIPON, of course, is shrimp. HIP Online, this is yung mga basic na mga culture practices. And we also have the Shrimp It Up. Yung Shrimp It Up naman ay for businessman na po. So yung mga guests natin doon, mostly mga business para meron ho tayong commercialization to increase our production and to provide better quality shrimps for the growing market. Meron din po tayong mga trainings sa mga technicians. Meron tayong training on water quality, on bacteriology, meron on farming. Tapos, meron din po tayong sin-establish ngayon na shrimp school. Itong shrimp school right now, we are coordinating with TESDA para makagawa po tayo ng module para sa school natin. Kasi kahit every time we have Shrimp Congress, we always announce we are in need, our farms and our hatcheries are in need of technician. Kaya lang wala talagang nag-a-apply dahil sobrang kulang. Kaya ngayon, magkakaroon tayo ng shrimp school at doon yung mga experts natin will be able to train yung mga technicians natin para madagdagan po ang farm technicians as well as hatchery technicians natin for us to increase our production and improve the marketability, quality of our products to expand our export. Napakataas ng demand natin both locally and internationally. Actually, locally lang, 97% of our production goes to the local market. Hindi na tayo nagbebenta internationally, hindi na ganun kadami unlike before. Kasi mas mataas pa ang presyo dito sa local kesa sa international. It's when China or India or Vietnam harvest, sobrang laki ng volume and we cannot compete with the volume. Kaya ang price nila bumabagsak internationally. Ang price natin dito sa atin mas mataas pa kesa sa international price. Tapos ang dami na po na-afford na po ng mga buyers ang price ng ating shrimp and they prefer, especially the young ones, those working in call centers. Mas maganda na yung kanilang sweldo. Kaya na nila na mayroon na silang greater purchasing power kasi higher na ang income nila. So they prefer shrimps talaga. Kaya ang dami nating buyers sa shrimps. As mentioned earlier, we were actually one of the top shrimp exporter in the world a long time ago. It was in the 80s. And we export to our number one, our top most importing country is Japan, followed by the US. So ngayon nga kasi napakadami na ng kumakain sa atin. Actually, ang per capita consumption natin is 800 grams or 0.8 kilo per person per year. Unlike before na 0.3 lang. So ang laki ng parang 167% ang increase from 2003 to ngayong 2023. Marami na kasi talagang prefer to eat shrimps rather than other seafood products. Kaya pero we are still aiming on to expand our exports. Kung marami pa tayong mas mapuproduce aside from selling locally, magi-increase din ang ating local export market. Thank you.
Ngayon naman, makakasama natin si Mr. Rolen Alunan. Siya po ang farm manager dito sa Binalbagan Farm ng Charon Pokpan Foods Philippines Corporation. Magandang araw, Sir Rolen. Unang-una po sa lahat ay nagpapasalamat po kami sa pagpapaunlak po ng aming request sa pag-interview po sa inyo.
Magandang araw din po at wala naman. Welcome dito sa farm.
Sir, may mga katanungan lang pa ako regarding sa mga practices po ninyo sa shrimp production. Particularly po sa good aquacultural practices po or ang ating standards. So, sir, unang tanong po, curious lang ako kung saan po nanggagaling yung ating mga fry.
So, yung fry po na dinideliver natin dito sa farm is galing sa Dumaguete Hatchery, which is same company rin po. So, dinideliver na po yan dito and then nire-receive namin.
Sir, sa pag-deliver po ng fry ninyo, may sinusunod po ba kayong proseso or ano po yung mga ginagamit nyong equipment para masiguradong pagdating po dito is quality pa rin po yung mga fry po ninyo?
So, may mga sinusunod kaming mga proseso at mga protocol pagdating po ng fry. So, chine-check muna namin yung quality ng fry as well as chine-check din po namin yung mga water parameters and then ginagawa namin ay pinaprocess namin, may tinatawag kaming acclimatization process para ma-acclimatize yung fry na galing sa hatchery, sa Dumaguete hanggang dito and then i-acclimatize and then after that, chine-check din yung mga water parameters doon sa fry na galing sa hatchery and then pinapantay yung parameters mula sa hatchery and then sa tubig na nasa pan and then nire-release after nagpantay yung mga water parameters nito.
So sir, maraming proseso tayong ginagawa pagkuha pa lang ng fry natin doon sa Dumaguete. Tama,
yes
sir?
po, maraming proseso po. Kaya nga, sinusunod talaga namin yung proper protocol para sa simula pa lang, yung protocol is tama na para yung hipon natin o yung fry natin hindi magkakaroon ng problema later on.
Okay, sir. Sir, pagdating po dito ng mga fry, paano nyo po siya napapalaki ng maayos? And may sekreto po ba kayong ginagamit or ginagawa?
Wala naman pong sekreto o ginagawa. Ginagawa lang po namin is after ma-receive yung fry, pag-release at pag-stocking namin, ginagamitan lang ito namin ng feed na CP feeds din, which is quality feed, galing sa feed mill namin sa Bataan. And then, sinusunod namin yung feeding program na ginagamit namin para ma-monitor at mapapalaki ito ng maayos.
Okay, sir. Sir, itong feeding program na to ay nasa standard stream po ba ito? Or may sarili kayong program?
May mga sarili kaming program na ginagamit para sa pag-feed ng aming hipon para mapalaki ito ng mabilis at ma-harvest ito ng maayos.
So sir, sa pagpapalaki niyo po ninyo ng hipon, ano yung mga kadalasan na nakikita niyong challenges? And paano niyo to ginagawa or paano niyo to nire-resolbahan? Ano po yung ginagawa po ninyo?
Maraming challenges sa pagpapalaki ng hipon. So simula na yan dito, especially sa farm na ito, ay nakakaranas kami ng low salinity. So, yung low salinity, kasama na rin doon yung pagbaba ng minerals o yung low minerals. So, ang ginagawa namin, may ginagamit kami ng mga probiotics at mga Lyme application, which is CP product din na ginagamit para i-apply namin sa pond namin at matulungan at maging makatulong ito para lumaki ang ating hipon.
Sir, dati po ba may mga practices kayong binago ninyo nung nalaman niyo yung standards? Kung meron po, ano po kaya yung naging epekto nito sa produkto ninyo?
Noon kasi, bago ito na-take over, yung farm na ito, before, ang yung ginagamit na mga practices ay traditional way.
Mm-hmm.
So, ngayon, yung nagsimula kami, nag-take over sa farm na ito, and then with support with the BFAR, with good aquaculture practices. So, nakapag implement ng mga biosecurity measure, strictly implementation sa biosecurity with good quality sang fry mula sa CPF hatchery sa Dumaguete. And then, of course, good quality ng feed mula sa ISO certified na processing plants mula sa Bataan. And then, with our technology, CP technology, doon namin yun ang ginamit namin para makapagpalaki at maging mabilis maayos ang aming pagpapalaki ng hipon.
Okay, sir. Sir, yun nga po, dati traditional way kayo. Ngayon, nalaman nyo po yung standards at ginagamit nyo na po
Yes.
ito. Sir, yung transition po na yon from traditional to standards, nakita nyo po kaagad yung epekto, sir? Or malaki po ba yung naging epekto nito?
Yes, malaki yung naging epekto. Yung first is yung traditional way. Before, nagdi-discharge lang tayo ng tubig diretso sa ating environment. So ngayon, nakikip na tayo ng tubig, and then yung ating mga sludge area, yung mga sludge natin, kinikip natin sa may sariling sludge pond na hindi siya diretso sa environment. So, sa farm is in-introduce talaga namin yung sustainable farming at saka environmental friendly. So, sa ngayon, na makikita naman yung resulta, and then meron kaming magandang produksyon ng hipon na para rin sa ating mga mamamayan.
Sa madaling sabi, sir, naging magandang epekto ng pagsunod sa standards natin.
Yes po, naging maganda talaga yung resulta ng pagsunod sa standards ng good aquaculture practices para sa pagpuproduce ng hipon.
In terms sa sa consumer, sir, or sa pagbenta, mas naging napadali po ba itong pagbenta nung sumunod na tayo sa standards?
Yes, mas madali na yung pagbebenta ng hipon kasi yung quality ng hipon natin naging maganda, naging mas kaya-aya sa mga mamimili at sa market natin. So mas madali at mas mainam ito sa mga mamimili natin, sa mamamayan natin.
Sir, nabanggit nyo kanina na may feeding program kayong sinusunod sa pagpapakain ng inyong mga hipon. Sir, may tamang oras po ba sa pagpapakain? And may ano yung mga ginagamit yung feeds sa pagpapalaki po ng hipon ninyo?
So, pagdating sa feed, ginagamit lang din namin yung CP feed na para pa sa pagpapakain ng hipon. Ang pagdating naman po sa oras ay sinusunod na oras na alas 7, alas 11 at saka alas 2 ng hapon at saka alas 6 ng hapon. Yun yung apat na oras, apat na bises na pagpapalaki ng pagpapakain ng hipon namin dito. As well as meron din kaming ginagamit na automatic feeder para sa pagpapakain ng ating hipon para magiging mabilis ang pagpapalaki niya, as well as magiging maganda yung size variation niya o ang mga pantay-pantay yung laki ng mga ating mga hipon.
Sir, doon sinabi nyo kanina may 4 na oras kayo ng pagpapakain ng hipon. Sir, itong pagpapakain po ba hindi siya nagdedepende po ba siya sa kung gaano nakamature yung hipon ninyo, or sa lahat ng
standard na po talaga.
Standard na po talaga.
Yun yung oras namin talaga sa pagpapakain.
Kahit fry pa lang.
Yes, kahit fry pa lang.
Okay.
Yun talaga ang oras namin sa pagpapakain.
Sir, sa pagpapalaki po ninyo ng hipon or sa shrimp production as a whole, gaano ito katagal bago i-harvest? And gaano po dapat kalaki siya bago i-harvest? May standards po ba tayo regarding doon?
Okay. So, sa pagpapalaki ng hipon, mula sa pag-receive namin ng fry mula sa hatchery, dinadaan namin o stock namin ito sa aming nursery system, which is may ginagamit kami na nursery stage. So doon siya namin stock, doon siya namin pinapakain, pinapalaki at hanggang maabot niya yung certain ABW or laki or gram na 1 gram, at least 1 gram up to 1.5 gram within 30 days. So after 30 days, ita-transfer namin siya sa grow-out pan. After pag-transfer sa grow-out pan, papalakihin namin hanggang 2 months or 2.5 months, hanggang maabot niya yung mga ABW or marketable size na 20 up to 25 grams. So pagdating ng 20 grams, nagsa-start na kami ng harvest or partial harvest para sa i-lessen yung density ng pond or maibaba yung crowded ng pond. So pag nag-less na yung density, i-extend namin yan hanggang 25 grams para mapapalaki ng hanggang 25 grams. And then after that, doon na yung time namin para ipa-harvest ito sa aming mga buyers.
So sa katagalan sa tagal, sir, mga 3 to 4 months siya, tama?
So,
from fry to harvest?
From fry to harvest, naabot siya ng 3 months.
3 months.
3 months.
hanggang marating niya yung standard na size para i-market, sir.
Yes, 3 up to hanggang maabot yung standard size para ibenta sa market.
Okay, sir. So, sa pag-harvest, sir, may proseso po ba tayo? Pag-harvest natin, saan natin siya dinadala? Paano natin siya sinisort?
So, may tinatawag na SOP o Standard Operating Procedure kami sa pag-harvest. So, sa pag-harvest, pag-deal, so may mga buyers kami from Manila, from dito sa Bacolod or sa Iloilo. So, nagko-communicate lang yan, nag-arrange lang yan if nagtatanong if may ganitong mga sizes na available sa farm, and then nag-arrange, nagdi-deal na lang sa presyo, depende sa market prices natin na tumatakbo ngayon. So pag nakapag-deal na sa mga ganung presyo, kami mag-harvest na lang kami. So buyers na yung pupunta dito sa farm, and then kami mag-serve kami ng hipon sa kanila. So ang ginagawa namin, nagda-drag kami ng hipon, and then hinahauling namin papunta sa sorting area, and then yung buyers na mismo yung pumipili sa mga hipon or sinusort. Kinukuha nila yung mga small size, yung mga soft shell, na kung may soft shell, kung may maliit na, kung may soft shell, kinukuha nila at pinapak nila yung mga malalaking hipon. At saka dinadala sa airport or seaport, depende kung saan nila ibebenta ito.
So, bali, sir, yung mga buyer niyo na po, bahala mag-package nung produce po nila.
Yes po, sila na po sila na po na bahala sa packaging nila. Sila na po bahala kung ilang kilo yung ipapacking nila per box, sila na po yung bahala yun. Nasa kanila na yun.
Maraming salamat po sa pagbabahagi ng inyong experience or mga karanasan
Salamat
sa
din
shrimp
po.
production po.
Salamat din po.
Para sa karagdagang impormasyon patungkol sa PNS Good Aquaculture Practices for Shrimps, maaari itong ma-download sa BABS website sa www.babs.da.gov.ph o i-scan ang QR code na naka-flash sa inyong screen. Kasama po natin ngayon si Miss Ceci Loquias. Siya po ang Operations Manager and Assistant Vice President ng Cold Store Plus Ika Resources Incorporated. Magandang araw po, Miss Cecil.
Magandang araw po naman po sa inyo. Una sa lahat, ako po ay si Ceci Lucias. I am the Assistant Vice President and the Operations Manager of Eka Coastal Plus Eka Resources Inc. Ang Eka Coastal Plus po ay itinayo noong 2004, but we started our operation in 2005. So here, we are a service facility. We have 27 cold rooms. We are processing chicken, blasting, and we receive it. And they are delivered to us by our chicken integrators. And at the same time, we receive fish from canneries, which they produce as canned tuna. And at the same time, we process shrimp. We started our shrimp processing since 2005. And the first time that we processed, it was Peneus Monodon. Then later on, nagpo-process na po kami ng baname kasi hindi na marami ngayon ang Monodon. So, nagiging baname na po tayo. So, yun po ang activity namin before we process also tuna loin for Europe. Pero since konti na lang yung tuna natin, na first class, hindi na po kami nagano, but we focus on shrimp processing. Yan po.
Ma'am, nasabi niyo po na nagpo-proseso kayo ng hipon. Saan niyo po sino-source out yung mga ginagamit ninyong hipon sa pagproproseso?
Okay. Now, kami, bilang processor, we have no farm of our own, but we source it outside, like maasim, kiamba, Maitum, then Cotabato. Also, we source it out from Bulacan and Davao region. Yan po.
So dito lang po sa Mindanao niyo po kinukuha yung mga ginagamit ng hipon, no ma'am?
Yes, I forgot also in General Santos. We have farmers here in General Santos. We also buy from them.
May mga requirements po ba kayo or may mga ginagawa bago niyo po piliin or gamitin yung mga hipon na sinusource out po ninyo?
Actually, that is a very good question. Hindi lang basta may hipon, harvest ka.
Yes.
So may mga requirements tayo. Una-una, ang farm ban na i-harvest natin is accredited by BIFAR. Number one yan. Then, kailangan natin, ano ba ang average value or AW ng hipon natin na i-harvest. Then next, ano ba ang volume? Kasi kailangan natin yung volume ng hipon yung harvest natin. Then we see to it na yung distance from the plant is ilang oras. Kasi kailangan din natin yung malaman kung ilang oras ang travel natin. Kasi yun din siya ang one factor kung bakit kailangan natin schedule yung tao natin sa planta.
In terms, ma'am, ng sizes, may requirements po ba kayo kung gaano kalaki muna yung hipon bago niyo po kunin?
Yes, actually yan siya ang una namin tinatanong sa farmers. Do you have this size? Actually, before we need 18 grams up. Pero pag 18 grams up, marami pong undersize. So, ang undersize kasi, hindi siya masyado saleable na undersize. So, what we need is 20 grams up.
So, pagdating naman po ng hipon dito, galing sa pinagkuhanan po ninyo, ano po yung mga ginagawa niyo? From the receiving, tapos processing, paano na po yun? Pwede nyo po kami makonto.
Okay. No, ganito kasi siya. Bago tayo mag-harvest, kailangan ma-agree muna natin yung presyo. Kasi
Yes.
importante yan.
Yes.
Presyo.
Sure po.
Then, kailangan natin malaman kung when is the harvest available. Kailangan din natin malaman kung baka mamaya ang quality ng product during the time na nag-sample ka is different from the actual. So, kailangan natin malaman. No? So, before we start our harvest, may nauna na kami na tao doon na nagpunta. Ano ba yung quality niya? Kasi kailangan natin malaman yung quality. Then, pag okay yung quality, mag-prepare na kami, mag-decide na kami when will be the harvest. Anong oras ang harvest? Kasi malaman na namin anong oras yung dating dito sa planta. Kasi we are making schedule. No? Then next is malaman na namin yung volume, so we have to bring enough ice. Kailangan natin ng ice. Kasi that is a post-harvest requirement. So, alam natin yung post-harvest requirement. Yes. So, kailangan natin yung ice that is used for chilling, healing, and packing. Yung packing kasi natin ng hipon, it is 1:1. Ang ratio ng hipon at saka yung ice. Kasi pag hindi po natin na-maintain yung quality ng hipon natin, remember, your material is expensive while your ice is very cheap. So, hindi namin kino-control yung ice natin. Ang ice is only 150 a kilo, while your material is more than 200. Sometimes, it reach up to 300 kilos plus a kilo. Yun po siya. Then dito sa planta, bago po siya dumating, may mga ready na po kami. Nire-ready na namin yung area. Ready na, like, we set up the area, we try to look into the sanitation of the area. Pina-flushing na namin, we ensure that the contact surface are sanitized. Kasi we are talking of food. Then, siniset up na yung mga kiluhan, ang ice sa loob na kasi we don't want crisscrossing of the material. Kasi hindi dapat hindi dapat siya na ma-contaminate yung product natin sa contact surfaces natin. So, upon arrival naman ng hipon natin, we ensure that during unloading, kailangan po natin i-wash up yung i-wash yung container natin. Kasi baka makontaminate na naman yung produkto natin. So, mina-wash up namin yung styro box bago siya ilagay doon sa receiving area.
Okay, ma'am. Sa pagka-receive niyo, ma'am, ini-store po niyo muna siya or diretso na po siyang process?
Actually, ganito siya. Pagdating po ng ng hipon natin, tinatransfer siya sa crates. So, doon na siya tinatransfer sa crates. Then, nakikita na natin na hinugasan muna siya. Lagyan siya ng ice. Hindi na po kami nagkikilo. No weighing siya kasi nakikilo na siya sa farm. Then dito siya, diretso na siya sa mayroon tayong maliit na window na nandoon lang siya idadaan. Hindi po siya dumadaan doon sa dinadaanan ng tao. So kasi human traffic yun at saka traffic naman yung sa material natin. Doon siya nilalagay sa sorting area. Meaning ng sorting area, kinukuha yung mga undersize, yung maliliit, kinukuha yung defective shrimp, yun, kinukuha. Yung good shrimp lang yung ilalagay sa table for size sorting.
Yung mga defective shrimp nyo po, ano po yung ginagawa nyo doon?
Pag we are processing for export, magiging local siya. Magiging magpunta siya sa local market. At saka pag soft shell siya, ang ginagawa namin doon is binabalatan namin siya, ginagawang peel, wala ng balat, wala ng tail. Or kung matigas pa yung last segment ng hipon, ginagawa po namin ng washing.
After nun, ma'am, doon nyo na po, sinosort nyo na po siya based on sizes, tama ba? Ano yung mga sizes na classification ng sizes po na ginagamit po ninyo sa pagsusort ng hipon?
So we have a lot of sizes actually. So dependent on the ABW that we harvest. Now we have big size like 1620, parang colossal niyan siya. It is 16 pieces to 20 pieces a kilo. We have 2125, 2630. 3140, 4150, 6170, 7190, and undersized already. So, yun siya. So, this now has different prices also. So, yun ako.
But based on the sizes?
Based on the sizes. Now, kalimutan ko pong sabihin na bago po siya ilagay doon sa sorting table, hinugasan muna natin siya. So siguro nakita ninyo na mayroon tayong 50 ppm, 20 ppm, and 10 ppm chlorinated water.
Gumagamit po kayo ng mga additives or any additional ingredients sa pagpaproseso ng hipon?
We don't add other chemicals unless it is specified by our clients. But if not, none.
Pero di pa po kayo gumagamit?
Hindi po.
So, after ma-sort based on sizes, ano na pong ginagawa na after that?
Okay. Now, since we have already the sizes, before the arrival of the shrimp in the plant, naka-on na po yung tanning freezer natin. So, ang tanning freezer natin, kung na-reach na yung temperature na -35, ready na po siya for review. So, yung may mga sizes na, niloload na natin siya sa tanning freezer. Then, we're ready already, people at the packaging area. So, more or less 20 minutes when we load the product, 20 minutes after, ready na po siya for harvest.
Ma'am, after natin ma-freeze or maging frozen ng hipon, ano po yung mga ginagamit natin mga packaging or labeling?
Okay. Actually, the labeling has been designed by the customer itself. Hindi po kami nakikialam sa design nila. Unless the customer wanted us to design it sa kanila. But then, mostly, yung packaging material are all supplied by customers. So, ang sa amin lang, we do the production code. Nakita niyo siguro
Production code.
Yeah, production code. Kasi malalaman natin when was the product process, the date, the month, and the shift that processed the product. Kasi may traceability tayo na tinatawag.
Okay. After nung ma-package na natin, ano pong ginagawa natin? Diretso na po ba siya sa ating client or in-store pa po ba natin?
No, actually, kung gusto ng client na i-withdraw agad, we don't allow na freshly processed product will be withdrawn immediately. Kasi kailangan siya mag-temper siya sa lowest temperature so that we can maintain the quality of the product. At least 48 to 72 hours, we put that one inside cold storage.
Ano pong temperature po ng cold storage?
Now, the minimum temperature of our cold storage is -18, but it can go lower as -22. Pero kung masyado naman masyado malamig yung cold storage natin, we avoid yung tinatawag natin na freezer burn. So, we maintain it at -18 degrees Celsius.
Freezing injury or chilling injury, ma'am?
Chilling is not from freezing. Iba yung chilling, iba yung freezing.
Yes, po.
Ang chilling is you just maintain the product into positive degrees Celsius. Positive, hindi negative. But when you say it is freezing or frozen, it would be minimum temperature of -18.
And saan nyo ma'am dinadala yung mga produkto ninyo? Sino yung mga kliyente po ninyo?
Now, the product inside cold storage, it is ready. If it is for export, pag kompleto na yung isang container, one container for headless is around 17 tons, and one container for head-on is around 27 metric tons. So, depending on the customer, if he wanted to withdraw immediately the product. So, some is for domestic market and some is for export market.
Ma'am, sa tingin nyo po, ano po yung future ng ating shrimp industry? And ano yung nilook forward nyo po into the future?
Okay. Now, if you look into the real picture of the business, marami pong mga fishing industry that revert to shrimp farming. Siguro makikita natin dito sa General Santos, the mostly of the fishing industry go into shrimp farming. Now, because sa tingin ko, shrimp farming has a very big business. Yung outlook, although may mga challenges po yung shrimp farming. Just like I said earlier, way back in May, it started in March, may mga challenges po tayo na nagkakaroon tayo ng outbreak. No? As small as 4 grams, nag-harvest po yung growers. But then, hindi naman po siya, sabi na, yun lang. Kasi nasabi ko if there is rain, meron pong rainbow after the rain. Tama ba? So, ang outlook natin, because of the improvement, on the technology, malaki po yung tingin natin sa hipon. It is a big and big business, no? I've been with a shrimp congress, and a lot of countries has a big volume requirement for shrimp. So, maganda yung shrimp, only that you have to practice a good farm practices. Hindi po pwede na, ganun lang siya. So, you have also to practice biosecurity. Kasi pag wala po tayong biosecurity sa farm natin, ano mangyari sa farm natin? So, yun. Kaya nga sinasabi ko, kami nag-harvest kami kagabi, yung tao ko nasa labas lang, yung ginagawa nila, hindi sila makapasok doon sa loob ng farm. Hindi sila makapasok sa loob ng farm. Nandun na sila nakahintay sa weighing area. So yun. So, makikita mo, before we have around 11,000 hectares of sweet farming. Way back in 2019, pero ngayon ang dami. So meaning, ang shrimp farming natin nag-i-expand. At saka makita niyo yung consumption is becoming bigger. Yes.
So, yun nga ma'am, no, maganda yung sinabi niyo na dapat may sinusunod tayong pamantayan or good farming practices.
Yes.
Or pagdating naman po sa hipon ay good aquaculture practices.
Yes, correct. Oo. Kaya nga, when you listen into the farmers, when we group together, ito yung ginagamit na isa, ito yung ginagamit na isa, then they compare notes. Ano ba yung maganda sa akin ganito, sa akin ganito? So, ano yung maganda? So, makikita natin na everybody is trying to improve doon sa ginagawa nila.
So, yun na ma'am, yun na po ang aking huling katanungan. So, maraming salamat po sa pagpapaunlak sa amin at maraming salamat rin po sa kumpanya ninyo, ang Cold Store Plus Ika Resources Incorporated.
Okay, kami po ay nagpapasalamat din kasi napili niyo po kami na mag-isa doon sa magbibigay sa inyo ng mga magandang pamamaraan kung paano po magpoproseso ng mga hipon. Kasi kami, we look forward na yung produkto na nanggaling sa planta namin is safe. Kasi we are practicing food safe. Kailangan natin yan yung food safety, and I'm always reading the Food Safety Act, whether it's a fish, it's meat, and whatever.
So, ma'am, thank you po ulit sa pagpapaunlak sa amin.
Okay po, maraming salamat din po.
Para naman sa karagdagang impormasyon patungkol sa PNS, Fresh Chilled and Fresh Frozen Shrimps and Prawns Product Standard at PNS Code of Practice for the Processing of Shrimps and Prawns, maaari rin ma-download ang mga ito sa BAPS website sa www.baps.da.gov.ph o scan ang QR codes na naka-flash sa inyong screen. Ito ay para sa product standard at ito naman ay para sa code of practice. Ayan mga kabaps, may bagong natutunan na naman tayo. Tunay ngang hipon-tastic ang mga produkto kapag naaayon sa mga pamantayan ang pagpapalaki at pagpoproseso ng mga hipon. Sana ay madami kayong natutunan at kayo ay naengganyo sa paghihipon. Tandaan natin na ang mga pamantayan o standards ay maaari nating gamitin upang itaas ang kalidad ng mga produktong agrikultural at pangpangisdaan at siguraduhing ligtas ito para kainin ng lahat. Dito natatapos ang ating episode. Magkikita muli tayo sa panibagong episode ng BAPS TV.
Binubuklod ng iba't ibang hangarin, sama-sama sa iisang layunin, sa pag